Okie dokie, we're live with the Market Monday. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay on the icicle, the backup icicle that I found. That Chloe obviously didn't hide well enough because we found it. So I will be taking all of your market questions. And we'll wait for some people to get in here. And we'll get this show on the road. So I guess the first thing that I want to talk about is the good old daily change here and why this, even though this is December, so you got to think that December's always kind of a weird month for MTG Finance. There are a lot of times where the market is pretty much dead here in the December month. I'd even say early January, and then starts picking back up mid-January. But last year was the kind of anomaly to this, because last year we had a very good December period, regardless of it being holiday seasons. But this year it seems to be more like 2015, 2014, where the December is a pretty much stagnation is the rule of thumb. And you can see that here with the daily changes. We just had two massive modern tournaments that Grand Prix that were played. And the modern scene did not really change at all. You can see that this is business as usual. It's actually more of an MTGO deck that is affecting a price spike rather than what we saw at the GP. So we have some price adjustments. Cryptic Command, this must be some weird inventory issues here. But the first one that actually makes sense here is like Karn Liberated. Karn Liberated and Through the Breach. Those were two of the decks that did very well at the Grand Prix. And you can see that this is a pretty sad spike, and that would be the kind of the focal point that I want to talk about on Market Monday here. Is this is a terrible, terrible, terrible sign for Magic if a Grand Prix cannot spike the prices. So this has been we had a Grand Prix not too long ago for Modern, but when this attendance, this caliber, had very little effect on the market. So what going forward with Modern? Modern does have a Pro Tour coming up with Rivals over Ixalan, which is a kind of a double-edged sword, because we have the Rivals Ixalan needs its own little pump. That's why they switched Modern tournaments to standard tournaments for the Pro Tour, because they needed to have their latest set be spotlighted. And it looks like they're going back on that again, and this one with Rivals can be Modern. And so it's a double-edged sword for Finance, because it's not going to really pump up the Rivals pre-sales. And I think that if this Pro Tour doesn't have any significant price increases for Modern after it is finished, or after at least day 2, day 1, then that is going to be the most unhealthy sign for Magic the Gathering we've ever seen, as far as an economic indicator for the overall health of just the Magic the Gathering finance world. So anyway, I guess we'll start getting into your questions. If you have any questions, how's my store doing? Ronan asks. It's doing okay. I don't think that my area really is affected by a lot of what's happening in the Magic the Gathering finance world, or kind of the drama that's also happening. We have kind of a closed community here that doesn't have a lot of influence from the outside world. However, probably our biggest spender here at Gone Rogue Games usually comes in and buys at least a case per release, and then buys all the supplemental products that come out. Has said he's done spending money on Wizards, so that was a bad sign for us. So actually, it's more of a bad sign for Wizards, because we of course we got a little bit of cut from him, but he was the type of guy that he shops around. So we'd, of course, since he's a big spender at our store, would give him massive discounts. So if he spent like $1,000 per set, we'd actually have just a small chunk of that. So it actually hurts Wizards a lot more than it hurts us for him deciding not to support Wizards of the Coast anymore. So besides that, it's been overall, the unstable is pretty positive. With this been a long time since we've had like 2 draft pods actually fire in a night, not just 1 but 2. So usually it's very, very tough for us to get a draft together, because the most of our locals are Commander players that don't want to spend money on draft, or Constructed players that don't want to spend money on draft. So it's very, very tough for us to get a draft pod to even fire, let alone 2. So anyway, there's that going for us. which I think is going to overshadow the overall success of what Unstable was with all this nonsense. Could you think about what a knock out of the park this would have been for Magic the Gathering if all of the iconic masters debacle, all of this stuff that's happening at the Walmarts and Targets, where we also saw the mass dumping of products from like the GameStop type stores that were selling Magic products for 75% off, all of that kind of nonsense. If that would have, if that didn't exist, the community issues didn't exist right now, man, I would be saying bye in Magic the Gathering now. But I can't, under good faith, really say that anyone should be investing, or if you are investing in Magic the Gathering, you really need to take some caution while doing so. As I've talked about in the past market videos, I think we're headed towards a pretty bad 2018, where Wizards is not going to stop their production. I think they're going to ramp it up. We're going to see more reprints than even 2017, while they try to milk that cash cow, that paper product cash cow one last time before their focus goes completely on Arena. I think that if you just put all the signals together, it looks like that their CEO has a big digital background, and it looks like they're throwing all their eggs in one basket for the Arena to be a kind of like a Hearthstone steady income for Wizards of the Coast from here on out. I know a lot of companies want to go to digital because there's a lot less overhead involved, and it's a lot easier to manage than just can you imagine the headache for the supply chain of trying to go through distributors to local game stores to all the stuff, all the promotional materials that they have to send out. We get a lot of promotional materials from Wizards that probably cost them a big chunk to send to all the stores just to advertise for them. Whereas on digital, it's a lot easier to get that out there without having any overhead to do so. So that's a long answer for how our store's doing, I guess. But our store's doing okay for the holidays. Like I said, this is something that I know that Zach and I should be taking this more seriously. We would do a lot better if we had a better like our real estate was in a better location for attracting customers in and whatnot. And I wish we would be able to get over that hump that it needs for capital to really start investing in like board games. The problem with right now, why we don't touch board games or a lot of other stuff, is we need money flowing. And that's what's good about Magic the Gathering, is typically they produce sets at a really good interval, that as soon as our customers have more money, they purchase stuff. And then it takes them a while to get back money to then purchase stuff. Whereas board games are like an end of year purchase. They're kind of a Q4 thing, or maybe like in the boring months of the summer that we can get some people to come buy them. But they don't move is what I'm trying to say. So it takes a long time for them to sell. And therefore it's just like capital that gets tied up. And you don't want, in a store that's starting, you never want capital that gets tied up for long periods of time. Alrighty, so I will try to get to your comments. If you @ me, it's a lot easier to read the questions, or however they do it with YouTube. Given the additional tribal synergies that are coming in Rivals of Ixalan, do you see room for growth in the Ixalan tribal cards? Yes, I think that we're going back to the Pro Tour, though, is not going to give them the focal point that it's going to cause those big price spikes after Rivals. However, I do think Dinosaurs are well positioned. Pirates are pretty close there, and Vampires is already a deck. So I think that we could see some really good pieces that can just put them all together. I think they'll really push Dinosaurs. And so some of those specs could be good. The Priest that tutors up Dinosaurs could be good. The whole problem with this, though, is I'm still looking at this through the opposite of rose-colored goggles. I guess the kind of paranoia that no matter what Wizards does, if there is a big exodus in players, all prices across the board are going to struggle. So it's hard for me to spec in a set like Ixalan, or if you go even back further to Kaladesh Forward, of if we have mass player exodus, that's mass cards that enter the marketplace. There was some idiot that I saw a tweet saying that this should be good for speculators because less players equals more opportunity for money. I'm like, what kind of planet does this person live on? No, the more players there are, the more opportunities there are for investments in Magic, because I think the pendulum swung to we have too many investors and not enough players. So there's too many people in the game of the Magic the Gathering Finance, where a lot of people made those really record-breaking profits in MTG Finance is when the vast majority of people were just casual players, and there are very few finance people. So again, the pendulum we need more players, not investors, in the Magic the Gathering world to really have those good price increases. What do you think about Jeremy's petition? Do you think it's influential enough to bring some change to Wizards policies? I don't know if this is a correct place to talk about the drama aspect. Like, I do want to try to focus on market. I know we're going to get derailed a lot, so if it gets slow, I'll definitely go back to those type of questions. How likely are we to see friend or enemy fetch lands in the 25th Masters? Unlikely, I would say. I would say unlikely. I don't think that usually when they print master sets, they need to have a focal point for their rares. And when you put enemy or allied colored fetch lands in those, it takes away a lot of the slots for rares. And I do think that there will be some lands from the past, maybe something like Ancient Tomb, that they're going to be wanting to put in that slot. Not Caverns of Souls, Cobble Coffers, for example, or Urborg Tomb Yawgmoth. I think those go better in those slots than the fetch lands do. So I don't find it. I don't think your fetch lands are in jeopardy for that. But come the master set after that, I do think that, of course, I'll focal point on cons. There are some rumors, though, that this is the last Modern Master set. I don't know if I actually agree with that, because people have realized that everything, Return to Ravnica Forward is pretty much worthless. So trying to do a bunch of reprints focused on RTR, Theros block, Khans of Tarkir is just a losing battle for master sets because they just can't hold their value because the supply is really out there. So I don't know if your fetch lands are in jeopardy for the 25 set, but they are a liability if the whole health of Modern does collapse. And I'm not sure. I think that this Grand Prix was kind of a mixed bag of positivity and negativity. There was a lot of different archetypes that did get a lot of camera time. Tron did end up seeming to be a little more oppressive than I think that they wanted it to be. And then decks like Scapeshifts that just ignore what a lot of... I think Scapeshift did really well because Burn was pretty heavy, and Scapeshift has a pretty reasonable matchup when they can have a good sideboard slot versus it, and they can just be faster, and the inevitability and how quick Scapeshift can be allows it to play a lot better versus like the Death Shadow type decks. So Scapeshift was on the rise with, of course, 1 and 2 going to 2 Scapeshift players, and Tron did very, very well. The Fatal Push-based Trons did extremely well in this last tournament. So right then and there's not a lot of fetch lands that are used in those. I think there is actually. Both of those do use fetch lands, but anyway. Whew. All right. So any other questions we have going? Did I miss any? Again, at me. That's the best way to do it. If not, I'm just going to keep giving my spiel of the overall market. So if you follow me on Twitter, you might know that I got in a little bit of a Twitter spat today. I think I'll just address that right now. Don't worry about me. There's a lot more going on to my tweets than I led to believe. Yes, my store has been under attack a little bit by Wizards. They did it's been a while since this, but they have reached out to Zach, my business partner, and given him kind of a threat, an underhanded threat, about if I continue to, go down certain routes. It's one of those things that they never do threaten. They just always give you like, we just noticed you're doing this, and this kind of goes against our wishes type thing. So I know what to take things when they're given. I'm not worried about it because all in all, if push comes to shove, then I'll just bow out of our WPN. I'll no longer associate my name with it, and then I don't think that they can really do much to the business at that point. So we're safe there. The other part, though, is that the economic indicators are just really, really poor for MTGO. So let's switch over to Magic Online. This is where you usually see a lot of huge spikes. So we are seeing the spikes with the cards that did do well at the Pro Tour, but I'm still seeing, after a Modern tournament, this bracket is usually not very high, the top losers. You see a lot of top gainers and very few top losers, because even decks that just did okay at the Pro Tour still the Grand Prix, tend to go up in value. And like Kolaghan's Command got a lot of screen time at this one, and it's been dipping as well. And MTGO, though, there is a very, very vibrant Modern scene, because they do have the Modern leagues and the Modern, at least once a week, I believe, the format challenge that people need the cards for. But it's my whole fear is just MTG Arena. They still have not been transparent of exactly what's going to happen with MTGO into MTG Arena, or if they're going to give preferences to one or the other. And for me, it's just, I think I'd rather have cards in ticket value and then ticket value in money. Also, if you've noticed an announcement that you can actually just buy play points now at a better bargain than buying tickets. it's going to make tickets a little bit obsolete, other than they are still the preferred currency. I mean, people are just going to use them when they want singles type of stuff, but it is going to lead to less tickets overall in circulation, which people will say, well, that will, you know, value the tickets a little bit higher. But if it's still going to devalue them, just that play points become the better bargain. So just with that being said, with all of these factors into each other, I think it's time for me just to get out of MTGO right now and go to a skeleton collection. So I've kept all this stuff in my Marionette Master deck, and I've kept everything in Soul Sisters. But cards like Steam Vents, cards like Scalding Tarns, I used to have a playset of all the lands so I could play Modern. First of all, it's also a personal preference. I don't like Modern at the moment. I think this Grand Prix was just a bigger nail in the coffin, because two of the most miserable decks to play against, in my opinion, are Tron and Scapeshift. And now, of course, they're going to see more play because it's kind of the opposite of what the Splinter Twin had, the effect on the format. Splinter Twin was an interactive combo deck, so it really, really interacted with you, whereas Tron and Scapeshift are what I like to call inevitable decks. So they have a time clock. They are going to do their thing if you give them enough turns. They could just care about the turns. They're eventually going to grind out the attrition decks. They're eventually going to combo off, or, you know, just value off what Tron does. And it's just not a format I like to play in. So that's why I sold out of Modern. I was actually pleasantly surprised to see that I had that much value in my MTGO collection. But I don't want to really tell everyone that's a terrible time for MTGO, because I still think that you have a while to get out, and there still will be some opportunities. So I'm still going to watch the market pretty closely. Like, if you would have been following the Grand Prix, Scapeshift through the Breach would have been great pickups. It was just one of those weekends that I wasn't watching much Pro Tour coverage, or I was busy with other stuff, Unstable being one of them. There definitely is some pretty good targets here and there. It's just, I don't know how much longer that's going to hold true with MTGO. So usually that's what happens when an economy dies, though, is you still will see like one last hoorah, and then everything has a free fall. So just keep that in mind. We're going to watch the Magic online market very, very closely within the next coming months. All right, so there's an at me. Have you considered the chance that all the current actions by WotC could be done to lessen paper card and MTGO players to treasures? Yeah, Intercity Pigeon, I touched on this a little bit earlier. I think that Chris Cox, is that the CEO now of Wizards, has a huge digital background, and he's been pushing for more digital content. And it just simplifies things. Like there is a lot of overhead that needs to be maintained to have the whole chain that they have right now go to distributors, to local game stores, to end user like you consumers. So if they can just go directly to online, they don't have to have the middleman and then the middleman of the middleman. So they don't have to have game stores. They don't have to have distributors. They just go directly from MTG Arena directly to consumer. And it's a lot easier for them to make very, very high margins on that type of stuff. Because let's just take down a chain of what happens. So Wizards sells a booster box. I think distributors get it from, they probably get a booster box between high 50s to low 60s, I would say. I don't know. Maybe it is actually even high 60s is what they get a booster box directly from Wizards. Then they sell the booster box to a game store like me for anywhere between $75 to $85, depending on what kind of rapport you have with the distributor. So you can see that Wizards is only getting about $60 to $70 per box is how much they're actually making through that chain. When they sell directly to local game stores, they get a little bit higher, and then the end user or the consumer ends up, you know, paying $90 to $100. A lot of that actually, if they sell on eBay, gets eaten up by credit card transaction fees and eBay fees and stuff like that. And so the big slice of the pie is still Wizards, but not as much as they could if, like, an Arena platform where they could just sell directly to consumer for $100 of value and make the $100 of the value. So that does make a lot more sense to have a digital platform. However, where I think that Wizards is wrong is they are miscalculating or misjudging their core audience. When I talk to people, and I am in the community, whether Wizards wants to acknowledge that or not, I meet a lot of people that play Paper Magic that don't even know that MTGO exists or MTG Arena exists. They play Paper Magic, or if they do know that it exists, they have no desire to play Magic the Gathering online, because for them, Magic cards, I've gotten this so many times. Why would I want to buy fake cards? I get that. I mean, to me, a cardboard card is just as fake as a digital card. They're both fake. They're not real. I mean, it's not... the ink on a cardboard isn't worth a lot of money. It's what people put value in them. So whether it be a digital object or a cardboard object, they're both not real. However, a lot of people hold value that it's something they can physically have. And I guess with the recent seizing of MTGO accounts, that holds a little bit more true, because Wizards just can't come seize your cardboard collection as they can with your online collection. So I get that. But the vast majority of people that I interact with in the paper scene have no desire to play an online Magic experience. My experience with Arena so far of watching it is it's incredibly clunky. It's even more clunky than MTGO, and the booms and the graphics just take away from the Magic experience, don't really give to the Magic experience. Kind of like how people just say that Hearthstone is just a lot more pleasurable to watch because of all the kind of like, you know, the bells and whistles that happen there. So I think that Magic is in for a rude awakening, and they've misjudged their player base, and they're banking on the idea that they can be the next Hearthstone rather than again, they're betting on something that is unproven. If someone can please tell me that what Wizards of the Coast has successfully managed beyond their paper Magic, please let me know, because everything else they've done, Duel of the Planeswalkers, digital experiences, including MTGO in the past, have not been successful, or have not been nearly as successful as they could have been. So my faith in Wizards creating a platform like MTG Arena that's going to be successful is very, very low. Now, will Arena actually translate to the paper product? Do they actually want that to happen, or do they want the opposite to actually happen? I think that all the indicators are trying to show us that they are all wanting it to funnel to Arena, not the other way around. So I wish they'd be a little more clear about their end goal, and that way you can make some more educated investments if you are still in paper Magic. So I guess that's a big spiel about that. I don't know if I got sidetracked there or gave you a good, concise answer or not. What modern deck should I get into market and upcoming ban-wise? I tried like Dredge, Jeskai, Geist, Esper Drago, and Jeskai Azcanta. Thanks. Again, I don't know if I'm the right person for this, because I still think that will 25 have more modern cards in it? I don't know where the equity is going to be for modern. We've seen the entire format continue to devalue, and people are actually bragging about it. Of the cost of modern has gone significantly down. So you don't even see like the old Grixis Dash Shadow at 1,000. We have Jeskai Breach at 1,200. We have Abzan. Abzan used to be a $2,000 deck. I remember this because this is the one that I used to, when it broke the 2,000 mark, we talked about this being a $2,000 deck. Now it's down. So it's down to 1,500. So it's lost, you know, $500 or 1/4 of its value right there due to reprints. And so I don't know if there's going to be enough growth, player growth, to keep up with the amount of reprints that Wizards is reprinting cards. So it's banning's another whole ball game. Yes, if they ban some cards, then of course the decks that do very well or didn't do very well against the cards that got banned are also going to see an influx. But yeah, I don't know. It's 25 is the big wild card. What products are coming out in 2018 to affect the modern scene is another huge wild card of you know, where to stick your money. So I've talked to a lot of other people, investors. It's still Commander that I like the most, but we've also seen a lot of reprints in Commander where you can't go the traditional route of going to EDH Rec and just looking at the most played cards in Commander and investing in those, because we've seen some cards even as recently as like Battle for Zendikar be reprinted in Commander sets because they were seeing a lot of demand on EDH Rec, for example. So modern is one of those very, very difficult things to invest in. Standard is also an extremely difficult thing to invest in the moment because of how stagnated it has become. And it without the Pro Tour for the next set, I don't know how core is going to affect it. There's a lot of up in the air just problems that we're gonna have to face as investors in the next year or 2 years. So my end game is actually to sell out. I'm treating Magic as a short sell. I think that regardless of how you feel personally about what's happening in the community right now, regardless of how you feel about the recent reprintings of Iconic Masters, or the fact that the only successful set that they've sold in the past, 6 months has been unstable. Besides, however, how you feel about that, there will be people that feel very, very negative towards that. It's like a domino effect when one player leaves the game. It causes other things to leave the game, and it's just a lot of cards are going to enter the market. And so I think right now is going to be a buyer's paradise if you adjust accordingly. Really low ball on CardSphere. I've reduced everything to 51% on CardSphere, and my full transparency, my CardSphere account is zeroed out at the moment, and that's receiving stuff around 50 to 51% of its price. And so I like right now, I guess the whole thing is I'm not really selling out of Paper Magic. I'm trying to liquidate everything, build up a lot of credit or just capital in other places. And I think I'm going to try to buy in late 2018. I'm going to keep looking at the just like the economic indicators, and like I still believe in Magic is what I'm trying to say. I'm not thinking that it's irredeemable. Whether, I mean, you follow my Twitter, you say, well, Kevin, you're having a Twitter spat there on about Magic, and yes and no. It's sometimes I get a little more emotional than the rational part of my brain kicks in, and I start to really think of all the stuff I invest in. Am I still having fun in Magic? Absolutely. Do I still like being part of the community? Absolutely. So I'm going to stick with Magic for as long as it's legal for me to play Magic. And if the only thing that's going to get me out of it at this point is if I do get, exiled the same way some other more prominent figures have been exiled lately from it. So, but as an investor, you definitely should be changing your strategies based upon all the stuff that has been happening right now. Just think about Unstable too. Think of all the money that's being thrown at lands right now. That's money that would be spent on other cards. Like, the market has to absorb that. It's when something gains value, something inevitably has to lose value. There's only two ways things can go up. Something goes down, or we get more players. So do you think ask yourself honestly, do you think we're getting more players? Because every other metric that people have been using, even that you can look at the quarterly earnings from Wizard of the Coast, a lot of that hasn't been showing growth. It's either been showing stagnation or decline. So it's almost like you need to manage your losses better than managing your gains at the moment, if that makes sense. But bear markets are a great place to invest for a future bull market. So that's I think where I'm going to be gearing towards in the next year of Market Mondays and all of my other finance type videos. All right, did I see Rudy's video about the unstable boxes that randomly contain a foil basic in every back? I want to know that for the rumor mill is usually with the God Pack we had a lot of confirmation. I actually had someone open that up at my store, the Theros Block God Pack, or was it Journey to Nyx? And so those were actually quite common in the scope of things. I would really like to see some cold hard proof about that happening before I would make a talk about that. Oh, so where was I here? I'll try to scroll up here and see what other questions. I would not be a fan of Magic if it went strictly online. It's so much better having a physical interaction with people at the local game store and large tournaments. Yes, Kyle, that is exactly what I'm trying to say here. Magic Online fills a very, very small niche in what I do. First of all, it's easy for me to record and do content. Second of all, it's a great place to test decks because it's instant access to games, and it's better. Like, third, it has better competition. So it's where I kind of train myself for the real world, for the paper Magic. And paper Magic's where I actually like Magic. I'm with you. I don't know if I could quite get into like Arena at the same level. I would just get so many times I'll log onto my computer and I'll be clicking on that MTGO button and be like, ooh, but it's right next to the Dota 2 button. Let's play some Dota instead. But if I go to my local game store, I'm not playing Dota at my local game store. I'm sitting down and interacting. One of the major reasons that I still am in Magic is my friends. All these people I've met through the game, it's almost like boys' night out. Now Wizards is gonna crucify me for calling it boys' night out, but I mean, it's for me, it's like going to the bar. It's like going. My older brother likes to go golfing with his buddies. I don't golf. I don't go, you know, I can't stand golf, to be honest. And I'm not a big sports player anymore. When I lived in Salt Lake, I did join a hockey league, but you know, I don't do that here. So this is my way of socializing, of making friends and things like that. And so again, that's one of the reasons why I think that their digital platform is not going to be as successful as they think it is. And I think Hearthstone just has that market cornered. We have Artifact coming out from Valve, or the makers of Dota, that is trying to get on the CCG world. We have games like Eternal and Hex that are doing quite strong. They're actually seeing growth rather than stagnation or decline. And so yeah, it's those reasons I really question WotC's decision to focus on online. They should focus on what works. Are they making profit on the paper world? Then focus on that. They have this market completely dominated. Why would you want to go into another market where you're getting killed when you have one dominated? So there's my. I'm sure this is going to keep you in a repeating circle here for this Market Monday. All right. So what are my top picks for modern standard bans? I think it's too late to ban anything from standard. If they did ban anything, I would probably assume that Aether Hub gets, or not Aether Hub. Aether Hub could get it. Attune with Aether would be the right call, because it doesn't kill energy decks. It just nerfs them down to where they need to be. It makes it so that they don't get, you know, 2/3 of a Thopter, or a draw off of the Glint Sleeve Siphoner, or, you know, 2/3 of a hexproof counter, a full counter on a Long Tusk Cub. All of those things. I'd actually say that Attune with Aether were banned. That Aetherworks Marvel would probably be okay to bring back in the format. There's not a lot of cards that Aetherworks Marvel abuses at the moment. The two best cards, Chandra and Ulamog, are gone. Those were the two cards that people were really getting. I don't think hitting a Vraska off of a Aetherworks Marvel, or hitting, what would they hit these days off of Marvel, that'd actually be that decent. So anyway, all right, so let's see any other market specific questions. Unstable lands have been going for insane amounts of money. Like, I am so mad at myself for selling them we're selling $2 for non-swamp, non-islands, $2.50 for swamps, and $3.50 for islands. And I was selling them all day long. And now I'm kicking myself because we're actually seeing those prices tick up a little bit more. I don't know how long the gravy train for that can last, because according to multiple sources I've heard, Unstable is going to get another print run. Wizard says I only have a case left I can buy from them. However, distributors still have plenty. But it's, again though, this is Unstable though is one of those things that if we were in a growth, that would be just fine. But when there's a product like this, it actually doesn't affect any format, and a lot of money. Just think of all the weekend money or all the Christmas money that was spent in this unstable economy. That's funny. That's a play on words right there. That eventually, I mean, lands are lands. They aren't necessary for the game. They aren't necessary for driving down prices in Modern. All that money did go towards something that isn't actually in the competitive Magic community or economy. So I think that it's going to take away all that money that would have. And so there's your price gains right there in a lot of these cards spent on Unstable. All right. So I haven't played Eternal. I haven't actually even played Hex. Or, to be honest, I installed Hearthstone, played like one game, and got bored. Don't like Pokemon Online either. So Magic's really the only card game I've ever really got into. Kaijudo I played a little bit, and Dice Masters I played a ton of Dice Masters. Love the game, but I got out of Dice Masters because WizKids is incapable of running a game. So WizKids is even worse than Wizards. WizKids is all about kind of clickbaity purchases is what I like to call it. Impulse buys. They just have the Dice Masters. They've taken the Pokemon platform that they're just going to sell their game due to the fact that it works very similar to like Pokemon impulse buys. So okay, MTGO set redemptions, are those even worthwhile? Everyone I've even talked to, I know I even spoke to Heath at MTGO Traders, that he gets cards for even cheaper than anyone can since he runs a bot service, and he doesn't redeem because it's not profitable. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on redemptions from MTGO. And they keep that window of when you can redeem cards keeps getting shorter and shorter and shorter with MTGO Online redemptions, which is absolutely ridiculous. All right, any questions that I missed here, just shoot them at me again if I've missed them. And I guess we can start talking about Modern specifically, where there could be some more room for growth, and how this could be an indicator for the Pro Tour, because nothing's really going to change unless we see some pretty crazy spoilers from, and spoilers should start, what, January 1st for the non-promo based stuff. So we saw the promo for League. League was awful. The League promo this time around. So, man, we had a great one last time because it was very easy to get people in the League because we could tell them, hey, you get a $4 foil just for joining League, which was the Uncharted Territories. And now League for Rivals is going to be, wait for it, Evolving Wilds. Wizards. First of all, you already did Evolving Wilds as a promo in the Dragons of Tarkir, I believe it was. They had it. And it's had so many printings, so many foiling printings out there that it's just, oh, come on, Wizards. I think it does maintain like $1, doesn't it? Let me see where Evolving Wilds foil. Just because it is a pretty decent card for Commander. 96 cents, 65 cents. Ooh, there's a Dark Ascension has a $2.39. Dragons Tarkir has a $4 one. That's the art that everyone loves, though. Isn't that the flame one? Yeah. There's this foil that exists. We have a bunch of other less than $1 foils. What's this promo? An F&M promo? When was this? 2012? Is that what it looks like there? I can't see the date when this F&M promo was. So this one's kind of an $8 foil here. But I have a hard time thinking this League foil is going to hold any value. Yeah, you can even see like Riseville Drazi, $1.39. I guess that's the same art. Modern Masters, of course, these foils don't really have a... They kept using the same artwork for all of these. So I guess you're going to get a new artwork for the Evolving Wilds. But, I mean, there's still Battle for Zendikar had a pretty cool Evolving Wilds art. So, yep. All right, have you heard of the Unstable? Okay, we already did the God boxes. How low will the unstable lands go? This is the wild card. Like I was talking about, unstable lands were something that I'm like, okay, I'm selling out of them as quickly as possible. Because a lot of people made the mistake of holding on to Battle for Zendikar, and then again when Amonkhet came around. So full art lands aren't that special anymore. However, these lands are pretty special because they're like even more full art of full art. So the islands, I'm sold out of them, and we opened up a ton. We drafted Unstable quite a bit. I think over 5 boxes full of Unstable. I mean, that doesn't sound like a lot for, when you're comparing with Rudy, who opens up, thousands of boxes sometimes when we open up a measly. But, I mean, as far as a low-volume seller I am, we sold out immediately of all of our full art lands. And with no resistance, like, we didn't have to lower it at all. Usually when I'm playing the game on, like, TCG Player eBay, a lot of times we have to keep adjusting prices to find that sweet spot. And it just kept going up, up, up. But if they do reprint this set into Oblivion, it's going to be very, very tough for these to hold value because the estimated value of a booster box is very, very high if you can sell the lands at $2 a piece. Because you're getting a guaranteed $2 card. Plus, there is some unstable cards that do have some value. I think we sold a foil Very Cryptic Command for like $80. So you find these little treasures in with just opening for a value of the lands. So it's just impractical for the lands to hold this value for quite some time, just because EV usually becomes about 65-70% of a box, a good case scenario, and that's that's putting a box at like $2 a pack, because a lot of people can get those boxes, or $2.11 a pack is what I think it comes out to if you buy directly from WotC. And so if you can get EV at $2.11, it just makes more sense for stores to open all the product and sell the singles, because it's easier to ship singles than it is, the full art stuff, and make a profit that way. All right, best product most local game stores should carry aside from comics and MTG Pokemon would be concessions, food. That's the best. So many local game stores I'm talking to, that's how they are mitigating the losses from the Magic the Gathering kind of decline we're having. I would say that accessories and food would be my next best sellers after Magic. I'm trying to go more in the board games, but that seems to be like a market that we'd have to kind of figure it out and attract people here. So it'd take quite a bit of marketing budget just to get that sort of player base. Plus, the whole reason why I started a local game store was not for board games. I'm a Magic player. I started for Magic. That's why I'm kind of taking this whole thing personally, because someone like me has basically dedicated their life to Magic. Ever since I was in 5th grade, I've been cheerleading this game to just anyone that would listen. Try to get everyone humanly possible, friends, family, people on the street, into Magic. So, diet pills would be good to sell. Oh, geez. Don't be saying that too loudly. They'll ban you like Crackgate guy. Evolving Wilds is like Christmas candy canes. Nobody eat them or like them, but it's tradition, so you still buy them. Yeah, we have so many Evolving. We have a whole box full of them. They get printed in every set. We tried to sell comics. There's just not a market here for them. Is there something different about the card stock of Unstable Lands? They feel different. I've heard a lot of people say that. I'm not sure. Someone rip one and see. Yeah, I think that's what Evolving Wilds is there for. But I mean, if you need a filler spot in a commander deck, why would you use a foil one to begin with? Just use the the 10-cent Evolving Wild that exists there. And hey, oh look, it's purple. Does purple see us? Oh, I'm blocking it. Look what we brought for you, purple. The Clorax. The Clorax. Look, I got a whole starter pack. Where's my other Clorax?
I hear them everywhere.
Zach is hiding the Clorax everywhere for you, buddy. So now you know that it's going to be in your dreams, in your nightmares. Oh man. All right, where did we get derailed from? So any other market-specific questions, we can just shoot the shit after this and talk about things. I wasn't really prepared for this because it's one of those things that I guess my main focal point of this is the market is very, very unstable. Haha, playing words again right now. So yes, all the money's being thrown at unstable lands right now, and the rest of the market is incredibly unstable. So that does give you some good opportunities. I just have yet to identify them. I really need to sit down and just analyze a lot of the just the sheer data of cards being sold. I even look at like Cool Stuff and TCG Player and who was it, Channel Fireball? Or someone else, they tweeted out that the #1 cards being sold right now are just all unstable stuff. Which, again, this is something where it is almost like taking that sort of money out of the Magic economy and putting it somewhere else. Like in another game almost. So, anyway. All right, so I guess I'll just take any questions if you guys want to turn this into, you want to derail it. If you haven't followed me on Twitter, come follow me on Twitter. That's where I have the most fun. Facebook as well. And I try to interact with people there. I know I still need to answer a ton of emails. I'm behind on Facebook messages and emails. Facebook messages are the worst way to contact me because those get kind of buried. And we have multiple people that use the Facebook account, so sometimes they click on it and it shows that it's read, and then I think it is read, and then I haven't actually personally read it. So if that's the case, if you have a message that's been unanswered, that's most likely what's happened. Should you wait on unstable lands? Probably. That is so weird, Slip. I thought that we'd start to see some prices crash, and then I wake up this morning and see the prices are better. Why am I getting stared at?
I was just going to say, but what if they reprint it again?
They are reprinting unstable. I don't know if you guys can hear Zach because I'm using the Shure mic rather than the... Anyone have any questions for... Someone said they had questions for Zach earlier. If they have any questions for El Zacco. Is that your name? El Zacco? So Evolving Wilds and sort of the Animus are the only way is to search for waste. There's a lot of ways to get waste. Hour of Promise can get waste if, or I guess if you're in a colorless deck, yeah, that's the way to get it. So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in the market that I would be. Field of Ruin looks like a pretty good card to start buying up at. What are they down to? Like 35 cents, and it had a ton of play in Modern, especially in those Death Shadows decks. Let's just look at Field of Ruin. I guess we could actually talk about some market stuff. This had a lot of play. You can see that the Modern is really starting to pick this card up because there's a lot of insanely greedy. Wow, it's 80 cents. I know on CardSphere it's 40 cents, I believe, for Field of Ruin or something like that. But this is really starting to get picked up in Modern because people run out when you're using especially like a Path to Exile deck. Field of Ruin. I played this in a Oketcher's Monument deck, and I path cards. And then by like the second path, the Field of Ruin would actually just be a wasteland at that point. It would just destroy land and they couldn't go get something. Is pretty phenomenal there. And I want to say buy in this, but there's an entire draft in sealed format with Field of Ruin. Put this on your radar for years down the road. I think this is, and especially if we do have an Ixalan forward format that gets born with Arena, I like Field of Ruin long term. But again, we just need more information about the direction Wizards is going with Modern, with a format like Frontier or Ixalan forward, and then we can make some pretty good specs. So, yep. Alrighty. I never knew you talked to the inventor of Double Strike during my stream. Listened back to it, and it made me laugh. Did he ever answer my question, though? I think he was avoiding my question. I can't remember what I asked him. Purple. Yeah. Carrots is not a dish? Where'd we get on carrots? Oh, there's one. Zach, besides sour cream, what else do I need to add to Utah State dish? Do they put sour cream in your... You have to... Wait, come close to the microphone.
So what my mom does is she gets strawberry jello, and so you mix up strawberry jello, you put bananas, pineapples, and strawberries in it, and then you create one layer, and then put sour cream on top of that layer of jello.
Cream cheese?
No, you put sour cream.
Sour cream.
Sour cream, yes.
Oh, God.
And you put sour cream, and then you layer the rest of the jello and fruit mixture on top of it. It is amazing. It's so freaking good. I'll bring you some sometime. Every single holiday, every time we get together for family, that's what we have.
Sour cream.
Sour cream. It is amazing. It's good. I promise you. Okay.
I've had it with cream cheese before.
No, sour cream's way good. Oh, there we go. Right behind.
I don't know.
I promise
he's hiding. He's hiding some Clorox again. Oh, I've actually eaten cactus. Fifth moon. There's a little flower that grows on top of a cactus here. And it's edible. So I've actually eaten that before. Cactus jelly. That's more of like an Arizona thing, though. All right. So are full art wastes a good investment? I think long term. But remember the Battle for Zendikar. I feel like I'm on repeat with this MTG Finance or this Market Monday. Battle for Zendikar is still the height of Magic. If we see a decline, prices have to go down. Let's just do a little experiment here. So look at this problem we're having. This should be the time these sets start to go up in value. Especially some of these are starting to see a lot of play. So we go to like Khans of Tarkir, which this was a flavor of the week deck. I think Khans of Tarkir is old enough to where the same time Innistrad, how old Khans of Tarkir was, Innistrad cards started going through the roof, like Snapcaster Mage and Liliana. But you can see like where is the card, what am I thinking about? The 3/3 Haster, the Mantis Rider. So let's find Mantis Rider here. There you go. So this was a flavor of the week deck. This was seeing a ton of play in a lot of the humans builds. So look at that. 38 decks all of a sudden started adopting this. And we see nothing, basically. We see a little bit coming back from its low. So its lowest ever 39 cents. That was probably at the pre-sale. I don't know where the 39 cents. It doesn't seem like there's one of those weird dips. Let me explain some dips here. A lot of times this lowest price is not very accurate, because what ends up happening is when TCG player gets mad at Crystal Commerce, they dump them off the site for like a day, and then it causes oh, there it is right there. This was the day that Crystal Commerce was offline for TCU player, and then it dips the prices because then you have a lot of the mass sellers use Crystal Commerce, and so it just leaves back a lot of these extremely low prices and doesn't get some more of the higher prices, the people that wait. Let me just speak of that real quick. You should probably, TCG low, the only time you should be selling at TCG low is when you want your sale to be, same thing with CardSphere, by the way. The only time you want to be very, 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 very stubborn and patient when you're selling cards to make the best bang for your buck. And you don't want to compete with the low. You want to compete more of where you think the market price really is, and just play the waiting game. Just be patient. Because this is, I'm sure these sell all the time on TCG Player for extremely low, but you can get away with selling this for the mid price all the time. It's a waiting game in the finance world. So, but yeah, Mantis Rider should be spiking up. Hasn't seen a damn thing because of how much of Mantis Riders are out there. And Battle for Zendikar is even worse because it's even a newer set. So let's just look at Battle for Zendikar. Of course, everything is still probably crashing. And then we'll actually look at wastes and look at the full art foil of wastes. So it seems to be pretty much stagnated. No, it still seems to be going down. This is the one everyone likes, right? So how come this has a low price? Eternal Masters. They just didn't have this one on Goldfish, I guess, at the time. So it still continued to go down. Yeah. See, the other version is $6. I don't know. In all honesty, you probably have a lot of time. I would say don't invest in something like this. I think there's better places to put your money in, and then when this starts to see movement, then you can invest. That's kind of my rule of thumb. I don't like if you're gonna invest in waste right now. I'd really lowball them. I'd put this down for put it on CardSphere for like $250 and see if people send them to you. And if they do, then right there you're getting the value out of it. So I don't know. I don't like wastes. There aren't they only like a 3 of or a 4 of in Tron? I know that commander decks though will use waste. Well, other than we are getting to the point though that decks can almost be made without using waste for those colorless commanders because there's so many of them. What do you want to say?
Well, what about the non-full art waste that only came in the intro decks?
The non-full art waste that only came in intro decks are 76 cents a piece.
Are they?
Yeah. Right there, those ones?
Yeah.
Yep.
They were just the most expensive for a minute.
The regular waste. Oh, Zach keeps popping his head in here, you guys. We need a camera that like looks at the door so you can see what's going on when I start randomly talking to a ghost. So, Legendary Man, if you're new, if you just popped in, yeah. We talked about unstable lands. I'm still trying to put my finger on where the actual price point of these stupid things are because it just makes no sense to me. They're holding so much value in the packs, and I'm still selling a lot of these cards for. I get away with selling some unstable cards for 50 cents to $1. There's a couple of them, like the very cryptic commands, that have been selling for like $2, $3, $4, $5. Sold some spike tournament grinders for $1.50 a piece. And so all those have really real value. It's just, it doesn't make any sense to me to have the lands hold this sort of value and not have people just continually mass open boxes. And so, and with it all depends on if there really is going to be that second print. If there's going to be a second print, then just treat it like any other set and buy when the market gets very, very saturated, and then you can start selling them off. Also, I don't know if this is just going to be a one-time thing. We've seen Wizards reprint stuff very recently after. So if these lands are a big hit, why don't they, maybe they'll throw them in some sort of box set. Yeah, I have my trust in Wizards reprints is an all-time low here, so. Oh, man. One second, I'm going to grab a drink because my mouth is getting dry. All right, I'm back. I'm back with some whiteout. This stuff's disgusting. Why are we out of the good Mountain Dew, Zach? You're failing.
I've been busy.
Anyone else want a drink while I'm at it? The fridge is actually right by me. I don't know why I'm acting like it's a big task to I need talent here to click. Waiter. Oh man. So, where were we at? Where were some questions on this? Market related specifically. Of course, the super chat gets priority. You guys are lame. MGHQ does a stream. Just kidding. I'm not gonna beg for money. Gets five grand. I do streams and get $5. Just kidding. Love you guys. You guys don't need to throw money at me.
Just go and cosplay and be a pirate.
Hey man, I have nothing against cosplay. I'm a cosplayer myself. It's called Halloween. Oh. Alrighty, so what questions? Yeah, try to at me. Yeah, let's go with Packrat Fear says shout out to CardSphere. Absolutely. So here's my end game. Let me be 100% transparent with you. I'm not selling on TCG Player right now. I'm not selling on eBay. We do for a little bit just because we need capital right now for the store. So we'll use eBay to get cash. CardSphere probably wouldn't be a bad route to go for cash either. I've been crunching the numbers, and it seems like CardSphere is extremely profitable at sending off around 80% and then using their cash out. But for me, as a speculator, CardSphere is... Ooh, let me see if I can pull this up without divulging any personal information. 1 second here. See if we can pull some CardSphere up. Let's talk about CardSphere for a while. I'll whore out the CardSphere platform. All right. So CardSphere is pretty good place to sink your value. So I'm not suggesting when I say that we're in a bear market to sell out into cash. You're gonna get killed by fees. You're gonna absolutely get killed by fees. And if you want a good way just to lose in MTG Finance right off the bat, is by trying to play the small guy game in the finance world. What I mean by that is you don't get the same fee rate that everyone, these big box stores having a platform to sell at. So you're gonna have to use eBay TCG Player. If you want to sell quickly, you're gonna have to try to kind of compete with eBay low, TCG low, and right there you're gonna lose all your value. So CardSphere is a great way for finance people to sink some money and hold it in the the CardSphere money until you're ready to cash out or ready to buy into Magic again. So you can say that my account is down to 44 cents. That's because I've been getting the best receives here in a long time with, oh, that's receiving. Where do I find it? I find it right here. That's where it is. But you can see that a lot of these cards I've been getting for next to nothing. Dig Through Time still seems very good to me. This is a commander spec that I've been specking into. 60 cents is probably more than I should be paying for it. I think that I've adjusted a lot of my prices here. But I am going long-term on cards that if we do get another big influence in Modern, in Commander, I'm going to have the cards that are ready to sell for when we have this big price spike down the road. So I'm hoping 2018 will be a wake-up call for Wizards, and then 2019 is going to be that we're going to make some green again on selling Magic cards. So that's where I've been trying to put it in more safe picks, like Dig Through Time is one, Cyclonic Rift, Sun Titan, those type of cards that, yes, they could easily be reprinted, but they seem to have the demand. They seem to have the track record of being this really staple in Commander for the long time. So that's where I've been putting it. You can kind of see, I kind of use the scatter shot strategy in CardSphere just to put a lot of cards at 51%. So here's my want list here of cards. You can see a lot of my offers. I don't think I have anything over 61% at the moment. Maybe I do. So these 150, these 150 aren't correct because I actually have a low price here. So it's actually 30% for these type of things. So, okay. So I have all the 71%. These are all reserve list cards. I'm still a believer in the reserve list, like kind of these trash cards. They're very, very low. So you see a ton of them at 71% there. I might adjust these if I care, but I've been receiving a ton of cards on all of these, and then everything else is at 61%, and you can see that my account balance is completely gone at cards at 61%, and so that is a huge discount being able to get them at, and anyone can do this. You don't have to be a store to do this with CardSphere. So a bunch of it 61. So you can see these numbers. You can see the ones that people have actually been sending me. So like a Gray Betrayal, I've received one at 61%, actually a little lower than 61% because it's more like 50%. I've received 3 Pernicious Deeds at 61% of the value. Like just a little bit, just here and there. I put Eternal Masters or Iconic Masters cards for pretty low, and getting people to actually send them. And I still like Shambling Vent long term for Battle for Zendikar. See, those are the type of cards I like to throw it in maybe rather than Waste. I understand the theory behind Waste. I just think that everyone else went all in on Waste, and there's a lot of wastes in portfolios here that people are just ready to sell, and there's a lot of supply of them. You got to think that a lot of those packs had wastes in them, and they're more common than even commons. So, but yeah, anyone have some specific questions for CardSphere? I mean, I'll just scroll through this. Illusionary Bracers, these I've been trying to eat up like crazy. I think I've received a ton of them, sold them all out of my local scene, and refilled. This is a great little thing for store. Like a lot of times, even at 51% of CardSphere is less or is less money than I'm actually giving my locals for 50% trade in. So we do 50% trade here at Gonro Games, and we use Tishi Mid, which ends up being Goldfish Mid, for our trade-in value. And CardSphere tends to be lower, even if they're 100% value lower than Tishi Mid. I don't know the exact price data they use, but it's pretty aggressive. It's pretty low on the low end of things. So, hey, no problem, CardSphere. I'll signal boost you guys all day long because your service is amazing. Where is it that I can see how much I've traded? I don't know if I'm not going to try to click around too much here on CardSphere because I don't want to give out any private data. which could end up happening. But yeah, so look at Smothering Abomination. Look how many of these I've received. Like, what is that? 29 of them. I put 100 Smothering Abominations at. So I've been getting these for 13 cents a piece. That's a long-term spec, 4 years down the road. See, this is where I'm playing the long game with Magic. Is I'm thinking 4 years down the road. Oh, thanks, Arachno Beast, for the $5 live beta Rapalas when you hit the stream. Rapalas, or Rapalas is the correct way to pronounce it. Rapalas, 100% Rapalas. Rapalas, I don't like live bait. Okay, so now you're gonna get me started on a whole spiel about. I'm gonna sound like a fly fisherman here. If there's one thing I hate in the fishing community, it's fly fishers. Holy, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for when someone puts their nose up in the air? Pretension, Batman. Fly fishermen are kind of like the scourge of the earth when you talked about pretension. I've met so many fly fishers that's the only acceptable way to fish is to fly fish. And oh my god, get off your high horse. So, but I'm gonna sound like a fly fisherman when it comes to bait, because a lot of people that use bait, especially power bait, ruin the streams. There's nothing. Go up to Mirror Lake. If you're ever in Utah, there's a very, very popular spot on the Uintas called Mirror Lake because it's right off the freeway. And see what a disgusting place that has become because of worms and power bait. And so also the reason I don't like to use bait is you will inevitably kill a lot more fish than using lures. So if you use lures, you'll get them on the lip, you'll release them for another day. I've caught the same tiger trout probably 10 times. There's a good 3-pound tiger trout, 22 inches long, in my favorite little stream that I've caught multiple times and haven't hurt the thing. If I were to use a worm or a power bait and caught it 10 times, that tiger trout would be dead by now, because a lot of times they get it in the gut, and trout are the weakest fish ever. They'll die from a hook even slightly in their gill or their just right underneath their mouth. So anyway, Rapalas, absolutely Rapalas. They're my favorite lure by far, and they're great on trout. A lot of people don't know that. Anyway, there you go. Now I got derailed, but $5 will derail me. Send me money. It pays for my Mountain Dew, and I will get derailed on any topic you want. Alrighty. Anywho, where were we back on CardSphere? Any CardSphere questions? You can actually talk to good old CardSphere. They're in the chat here if anyone has any questions. One suggestion I have for CardSphere is they should just bite the bullet and make a deal with the devil. I think having a TCC review, or even the Mana Source. Oh god, did I say that? Did that come out of my mouth? Review CardSphere would be very beneficial to CardSphere, because we need more of the we just need more traders, I would say. This is my experience with CardSphere. It comes and the value comes in big spurts. It seems like it takes that little bit of lag for people to receive the money or receive the cards and then confirm the trades. And so I'll be sitting here, I'm like, oh man, I'll have to adjust my prices up because I haven't received a card forever. I've been sitting on $150 forever. Then all of a sudden, one day I'll just be out of money because everyone will send cards all at once. And so I think we're having these big influx stuff. So yeah, well, I don't know, CardSphere. I think that if enough people were just to pressure the professor into doing a review, I mean, he provide a service. He does reviews for everything, supposedly, without being promoted by them. It would be good. I know that they're probably still hesitant for the Puka trade debacle of what happened there. But I mean, they shot themselves in the foot with that. That was their own problem, accepting those kind of deals there. But I don't know. I think the CardSphere just needs more exposure, because everyone that I've got into CardSphere has loved the service. So yeah, I hate showing my strategies to the masses, because every time I show you guys my specs, you jerks undercut me. Every time. I'm going to come in here, I'm going to see a lot of these Market Monday people undercutting me, paying 52% for everything. I hate all of you. I hope you all die in car fires. Do I get banned for that one, for saying that? Anyway.
Aaron didn't.
Oh, Zach's gonna get us banned. Okay, so yeah, you're gonna scroll through. You can go find my account. If you search for the Rogue Deckbuilder, I can't remember my user. But the thing I like the most about CardSphere, while we have them on here, is they continue to update the site. It gets better and better and better and better every time you use the service, and they listen to feedback and they respond. And that is just night and day from the Puka Trade people. Puka Trade had me on multiple. I was in direct contact with the people at Puka Trade, And every time I was in direct contact with them, it was more like they didn't care what I had to say. They just continued to try to win me over by just even like pressure me into being a cheerleader for them. It was dumb. They invited me to a Skype call once about how to fix Puka Trade because they understood that Puka Trade was on the decline. So they invited me and only a handful of other people to this Skype call, and they didn't want to listen to concerns. They just want to be like, please, will you tell your followers to use this again? Please, will you tell your followers to use this again? Please. Like, it never addressed anything, and it was just so frustrating with them. And that was finally the final straw. And then I completely backed out. And then, they've all blocked me on Twitter. That's their own prerogative. A lot of times I can be very inflammatory. But, yep. Anywho, that's been my. But I was given the warnings about Puka Trade way before, years before it actually collapsed. So far, I have no reason but to put faith in CardSphere. And again, no sponsorship whatsoever from CardSphere whatsoever. I'm actually a paying customer. I paid for their gold membership on CardSphere because I do believe in the service. And that's the type of, if you want to be a good, outstanding member of the community, that's exactly what you should do. You should definitely put your money into products you believe. And this service has made me money, and so it's awesome to give back to them. So I highly suggest that people go and not only pick up the service, but check out the perks of becoming the gold member of CardSphere. So wow, there's my little spiel for that. So yeah, any other questions specifically if you're on the fence about CardSphere, if you have never used it, maybe I can showcase the platform again. But this is my choice at the moment. I have never cashed out of CardSphere. The fees are actually very reasonable. I've done the math, and you're actually be paying less fees overall with if you can send stuff off around 80% of the value. People get kind of caught up in these numbers, but of course CardSphere is going to have its own economy, and it's going to mimic the real world economy and kind of bridge the gap between stores and users. So you have this kind of middle ground of what you would get from a buy list or what you'd get from TCG Player Low. But it works out with the traders. If you're just trading cards back and forth, it's incredibly good service because you get 100% of your value. If you're trading things at 80%, like if your wants are 80% and you're sending things off at 80%, it just evens out right there. But me, where I'm trading for 51% and I never send off things lower than 80%. Like if you look at a lot of things that I've sent in the past, right now I've been sending the lands for, look here, all these unstable lands, $2.50, $54, $3, $3.39. This World of Invention, I believe, was almost around 100%. Sorcerer's Spyglass was around 100% there, or 80%. This Rishkar was close to that. Same thing with this Speaker, the Foil Mantis Rider, all around 75 to 80%. All this stuff that I've been sending off is around that 70, 80% mark. And everything I'm receiving is around the 51% type cards. So, I feel a pretty decent roll. A lot of the cards I am getting are these low-end stuff. Because as a store, I have a lot of good outlets for the low end. My customers here at Gone Rogue Games tend to have the sweet spot being under $10 for cards they will purchase. It really takes them sometimes players will come in and splurge, but they have no problems buying a card under $10. Once it's above the $10, those cards tend to sell a lot more rare than the cards underneath it. So that's why I'll buy up these $2 cards, these 50-cent cards all day long because I sell them at my store. So anyway, where are we with this? So how hard is it to get started? How long is the learning curve for CardSphere? Oh, geez. Learning curve for CardSphere is not hard at all. Let's just go to so first of all, you go over here to wants, and the wants are very, very easy. So what do I want? What cards do we want, Zach? Because I am always adding to this because there's no problem adding a card here.
Commander cards and reserve list cards.
Well, no, what commander card do we sell that we needed that we didn't have the other day? I already put that on. I already put 1,000 Year. I already bumped it back up. Funny thing about 1,000 Year Elixir, we actually had it on our wants for Puka Trade, and I actually got enough of them, and then we sold them all at our store, and I just forgot to refill the wants on CardSphere. So yeah. Anyway, Madcap Experiment is something I have way. You want to show the amount of Madcap Experiments as we own? I kind of was drunk that night, I think, when I bought the Madcap Experiments.
I also spent a little bit too.
Zach was drunk too. We were both drunk. Kind of my worst TCG player purchases have definitely been when I used to TCG Player spec. So CardSphere, though, if you're going to spec on CardSphere, it will take you a lot more time and spec cards to do so. But anyway, to receive all the cards. Until we get like more users, I think that it's there still is a point sometimes to buy for TCG Player when you're investing in spikes, but
this is gonna work one day, right?
Here's our madcaps. Don't invest in Kaladesh. I don't think I'll ever recoup my money. I bought these all at like 10 cents and below for Madcap Experiments. I bought these after the Platinum Imperium deck, and just for the long run. But I don't. Did Platinum Imperium do well? Was there any decks on camera using the Platinum Imperium Madcap Experiment combo? You'll see it every now and again in Modern. Like a Jeskai Nahiri deck will just chuck it in the sideboard. A Skred Red will just chuck it in the sideboard. And those are the type of cards I like that just sneak up on people. So Zach's trying to hit me with over the head with a chair over here. So anyway, oh yeah, well that's just to show you that a lot of people hate speculators. That didn't even put a dent in the economy at all. When we bought those Madcap Experiments, didn't do a damn thing. There have been a lot of other spec cards that I bought multiples. We're talking about 100, 200, 300, 400 copies. Doesn't even put a dent in the economy. When I bought out the MTGO, I bought over 300 copies of Stony Silence on MTGO. Didn't even put a dent in it. I mean, and then, you know, paper's the same way. So, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, so learning curve for CardSphere is very easy. You have your halves. What halves do I want? Let's see, Ripjaw Raptor. Let's put this Ripjaw Raptor at insanely low, because I only pay about 30% for this card at the moment. But you can go over here, and then you can select the percentage you want. So 130% would mean I'd be paying 130%, so it's over a bonus. I want to pay about 30% of the price that CardSphere economy states it as. So I'm okay with receiving slightly played. I'm not a big stickler. Do you want me to get on a rant about TCG Player here in a second? I'm going to rant about TCG Player. So Ixalan is where I want it. Don't want the foil. Don't want the pre-release promo. Then you say, how many, do you want it to be active or paused? Do I actually want to be pursuing this, or just have it on my list and not want it at the moment? Active, cool, I want about 10 of them. Price limit, I don't want to pay more than 50 cents for this, so if it goes above 50 cents, then it will stop it at 50 cents. Boom, add your want. It shows you, okay, actually, all I'm wanting is about 12% of the $4.17. Is that Ripjaw Raptor really at $4.17 at the moment? Okay, I can adjust this then. I thought it was lower at this point. We'll put it up for 1. Oh yeah, because it was showing what the price was. So there, I want 10 Ripjaw Raptors at $1 a piece, or 30%, whichever is lower. Learning curve, no learning curve whatsoever. You have to kind of understand the market. The cool thing about CardSphere is they have this right on their front page of the most traded, the most, you know, the most valuable traded here, the last 30 days, what's the most traded. I guarantee these are going to go up just because of me trading these off. But yeah, there's a lot of other cool stuff. Recent trades, you can see people recently. Wow, people are actually trading these. I was trying to find people that wanted these. Damn it. Oh well. So then there's some other really cool ways to do it. At first, the sending page, you can then add your halves. So this is a lot easier to do. You just come on here, you have a halves. I have a Ripjaw Raptor that I want to trade. So I'll add a Ripjaw Raptor, and then that puts it in your halves. Then you can go over to this awesome little thing called Send, and it'll try to find you packages, and so you can adjust your packages. I hide everything under 73%, which if you do that for me, you won't find any trades from me, by the way. Everyone has their own little ways. Of course, I adjust this every now and again, but this is the sweet spot that I found that I like to send off at, is 73% or higher. I'm not interested in sending a package under $2, and I only want to send at the moment to United States. So because if I want to go international, I can adjust that. So anyway, you can sort by total value or sort by other ways to go, and it just saves all of your credentials here, and then it tries to find you packages to send off. Ooh, there's someone that actually wants an unstable card. Let's do this.
Is it in my deck?
No, well, BB Gun's in my deck. We're actually doing an unstable. It's mine.
You can have BB Gun.
I want BB Gun. We're doing an unstable league at our store, so there's actually is demand at our store for unstable cards. But anyway, so you come over here and like, oh my god, wow, Zach. This guy wants like 17 mountains, 11 forests, 3 out. Ugh. Maybe we should start cracking boxes. I know, and CardSphere, I don't think you're ever going to get any money out of me ever again, like actual money to put in the system. I think that it's just cheaper to open up unstable boxes if I want to put money in the system. But Yeah, so, and don't be dissuaded by these prices because, again, the CardSphere numbers are just lower in general. So I think TC mid is right now about 380 for an island, but 340 an island is the 100% is 100. The 100% of CardSphere stuff is 100% for CardSphere stuff, and they're pretty good. Just across the board, it's gonna be less money than like TCG mid. So again, I don't know what metrics they use. I don't think they want to publicly identify what they use their price data for, because of course that will just lead it up to exploitation. I understand it completely, but yeah, to put my money where my mouth is, how much? I think I did put in like $250 to start CardSphere, and then because I just don't. It's such a buyer's market at the moment. Sometimes I have a hard time. Like right now, my account's at 44 cents, and I'm actually losing value right now by not receiving cards, because we are low on some commander staples. Like I could definitely use some 1,000-year elixirs. Customer wanted a Rise to Redeem the other day, we didn't have. So usually when that happens, I'll put like 4 up on CardSphere and all those things. You know, I probably need to settle down on my spec cards so we can actually receive cards that I actually could use for my store. But it's just a great tool. I think what I like most about CardSphere is it bridges the seller and the kind of the store and the player. So of course I can make a better profit margin here on CardSphere because I have all the time in the world. I'm not trying to find a card for a deck, for example. So I can be very, very patient on my wants and very, very patient on my sends, if that makes sense. So anyway. Oh man, where was I with what I was talking about? Okay, so there's the send. Send is incredibly easy. I'm trying to see. Usually I don't like doing the send off packages because since Zach and I do sell on multiple platforms, I want to make sure I have the cards before I end up clicking the send. So the cool thing is you just go to the review button, and so we'll check out this guy here. So he wants a Growing Rights of Itlamok, a mystical tutor foil, and a training grounds. And so I'd physically go through my binders and see if I have them. I'm like, oh crap, I don't have that. Okay, I'll send these off, and then you just confirm it. You have about what you have. Oh, did you get rid of the time? Oh, there's a time limit right there. You have 10 minutes to make the trade. It kind of holds you that for a second, and then you can make the trade and ship it off. So anyway, that'd be a trade that I probably would send off if I went and found them. I don't feel like digging through a binder at the moment to do that, though. Sorry, Burb. I would send you off some cards, but I'm being lazy right now. So that's just the easy way to send. It's so much better than... I have crap falling over here. What did you... That was weird. Anyway, that's the easy way to send. There's also other things that I found very, very useful. For example, if I was trying to get rid of a specific card, like, oh man, I have way too many of these, come over here to Hallowed Fountains and be like, all right, I want to find someone that's willing to give a Hallowed Fountain for a reasonable offer. You find this person, you come over here, you can add one of these to have. I'll add a Hallowed Fountain to the have, and then it'll add it to your packages. Or you can just go and find the user and go over to the user, and it will start to build you a package right here and find some other things that this user might want. So anyway, whoa, almost, that guy had a phone number there. Uh-oh. Jeez, I guess that's public information that they're going to put on their CardSphere. Alrighty, so any other questions about CardSphere in general? Again, I cannot recommend this service so much. How'd we get derailed so much on this CardSphere thing? What was the original thing I was coming to show on CardSphere? There was something. Oh yeah, I'm putting all my value in CardSphere because I do expect a recovery sometime in the future of Magic the Gathering. Say that Arena fails, I don't think it's the end of Magic. I don't think you can kill Magic. Magic is such a deep game as far as just the gameplay experience that there won't be anything that I foresee that could actually kill the game. Yes, we can talk about the community issues. Yes, we can talk about the kind of the frazzled economy at the moment and the overprinting. Those things, all those aside, I think that eventually we'll have this ebb and flow of the economy, and eventually we will find that day in the future where selling Magic the Gathering cards is going to be extremely lucrative again. So I'm preparing myself for that day. I think that's what makes the financiers, that makes or breaks a person. Yes, when Magic 2015, 2016, anyone and their grandma could have made money on Magic. It was very easy to identify the trends, to speculate accordingly, and sell. everyone was making profit. But now we see stores like Sports and More that are playing the end game are going to kill the sealed booster box product for everyone else because they're working off a loss at the moment. But they're playing the end game that they're going to push everyone out. And yes, we're seeing that the finance community is oversaturated at the moment. This thing will have an effect on the economy. It's going to push people out of finance because they're no longer making money, and that will give you some really, really good opportunities 2019, 2020. If people actually have the foresight to be patient and wait that. How many people played during Innistrad would have wished that they would have picked up Liliana's? I did and sold them out at $30, but, you know, I made twice my money at that point. But, you know, how many people, like, there's so many people that wish they had a time machine and could go back in time. This is your opportune time right now to have your time machine and say, okay, 2020, 2021, I'm going to make bank on some of these cards once we're going to see the stagnation. And this is a great little platform. You guys, CardSphere are going to be around till 2021? I hope so. I believe so. If not, I think that all their money is backed right now. I trust the company. And that's going to be a time I'm just going to, like, either right now, either the value is just going to be in people still sending me cards for 50% of the value, and it'll just have a huge, massive stock of paper cards, or I'm going to have this is going to be pretty high, and then I can pull the trigger then on particular things. So, anywho, whew, that was a spiel. I am very, very low on the comments. I need to move this little chat somewhere I can actually read the damn thing. It's over here on the other screen. I'm like looking over at two screens and whatnot. One of these days I'll get good at streaming. Do we have Commander players here, actually? There are
Yes.
people? Oh, wow. We have people on a Monday.
It's Monday Commander.
The sky is falling.
No.
Oh, actually, they do come in. Thank God for Commander players. That's the only thing we have still coming in to play Magic. We have a list coming maybe for specs. Well, yeah, Cody, I've been trying to... That's kind of... I was unprepared when I made this stream. I've literally spent the last day kind of on Twitter... which is not very good. I need to catch up on so many things. So I didn't look at like trends. I actually haven't looked at a lot of finance trends. Actually, today too, I was spending a lot of time trying to liquidate my MTGO account. And so again, that's going to be the point. I need to find some good specs. I still like a lot of Commander cards going forward. I mean, you can just check my wants. Cyclonic Rift is a card I absolutely love for long term. And see if I can identify some other ones that I'm still actively trying to put. 1,000-Year Elixir, that card's always been good. I'm just trying to identify trends at my store that with the Commander players that have been selling quite well. Cyclonic Rift just seems to be the perfect demand card, and I'll show you why here. So EDH Rec. Right there. That is an obscene amount of number in a card at a quite low price. And so this is something that EDH Rec does, is they use Card Kingdom. They were bought by Card Kingdom, or at least sponsored by Card Kingdom, so that they use Card Kingdom prices. Card Kingdom is a good indicator of the health of cards. You can see a lot of... This is another reason why I'm trying to tell you to get away from Modern and Competitive, because Card Kingdom has dropped their prices on a lot of Commander, or a lot of competitive cards. Whereas a lot of their Commander cards, they have kind of upped the price of them. So Card Kingdom is going to be a lot more expensive. Let's pull up Goldfish here to show you. So let's pull up MTG Goldfish, and what's a competitive card? Let's look at Liliana the Veil. Let's just look a mid-range card. Look at Goblin Guide. All right, so let's go to Goblin Guide, Masters 20. So over here, let's look at the spread for Card Kingdom, see if I can actually find one. Card Kingdom is $18, Channel Fireball, TC Mid 15. Okay, that's a bad example. I've seen a lot of cards here where Card Kingdom is very similar to the TCG Mid, or even lower than TCG Mid for the competitive cards, but almost across the board for Commander cards, they've been higher. And I know that Card Kingdom is kind of the casual. That's where they get a lot of their, like, the fans from a lot of the YouTube channels they sponsor and whatnot. But EDH Rec using that, you can see that the Cyclonic Rift has a huge spread between TCG Mid and what Card Kingdom is selling that. So this is showing you, oh, they've even bumped it up. So the TCG Mid versus the Card Kingdom, That's a pretty massive spread there. $8.50 versus $6.50, a $2 spread. Let's go with the buy list price. The Card Kingdom is actually paying $5.70 versus TCG Players $6.52. In fact, we might have just identified a price discrepancy. Let's pull this up. See if the buy list from Card Kingdom is actually... Yeah, wow, $5.90. So 20 cents is the difference between TCG Low and Card Kingdom. That is a good indication for Cyclonic Rift. That's an insanely good one. I have sunk a lot of money in Cyclonic Rift here and there, but it's mainly been in the CardSphere. Let's see if I can go to how many cards I've received of a particular card. Hopefully, again, if I ever show private data, please show me real quickly so I can take it off as soon as possible. I know that when I used to Puka Trade videos, man, I was accidentally showing like a lot of private information. I apologize for that. All right, see if I can find Cyclonic Rifts to see how many. So Cyclonic Rifts for $3.63. So 9 of them in the past one. Cyclonic Rift for $3.61. Cyclonic Rift for $3.81. Cyclonic Rift for $3.81, $3.41, $3.44, $3.44, $3.67, $3.31. Some of these are slightly played. So you can see that I've got those a lot lower than like buy listing them. So there's a little bit you could use CardSphere 2 to kind of bridge that gap. I wonder why Card Kingdom doesn't just use... Why don't these big box stores use it as a buy list? I've never understood that. Is CardSphere still on here? If they are, let me know if you've seen any of the bigger CardSphere people, the bigger box stores actually enter the market, because that will bridge the gap even more. That will be really good for it. So, hey, Frank, appreciate the donation. Don't know why my little donation thing's not coming up. Oh, there it is. Yay. You get what is that, an Eldrazi Displacer? I agree, Frank. These guys are awesome. Again, that's why when one of my buddies attacked him on Twitter, I had to, of course, come to their defense as quick as possible, because it's CardSphere's great. So, oh, talk about international for a second. International, I wouldn't be dissuaded too much from shipping international. Go get those stamps from the store. How much are they, Zach?
They're like $1 a piece.
$1 a piece for international stamps? Those are pretty good. A lot of times international people...
You can only send like 3 or 4 cards, though, in a card sleeve.
We got a card. I sent something to, like, where was the person that I sent to? It was Fargo Islands?
Unless you get these little thin ones. I can't remember what they're called, but they're ultra thin. They weigh nothing.
We need to have Zach on here to tell you how to actually ship cards off one of these days. The post office is really cracking down on stuff. You need to make it have the exact same dimensions on all portions of the... Man, we're starting to get a lot of CardSphere cards coming in from other users. They have this little 26-cent fee on it because it was like... It doesn't have the same diameter or whatever on one end of the card. Of course, I just eat that. That's just the price of business. I try not to be too stingy when people send off not enough shipping, because that's just gonna... I know that people probably receive packages from me that they require shipping, and I receive packages from other people that require shipping. That's just the post office being the post office. But yeah, one of these days Zach will have to do a whole tutorial on how to do that, because he's become a pro at doing that. But I need to get Zach involved more. He's just so shy and awkward on videos. So cringy.
Whatever. If I could get a second to talk, I would do more videos.
A second to talk is what he's saying, because I talk over. Okay, maybe I'm cringy. Maybe it's me that's cringy with Zach, but...
Don't blush.
I'm not blushing. Oh. Am I blushing?
I don't know. I gotta fix the phone.
But yeah. Oh, where were we talking about? I guess we'll go back to your questions. I'm trying to give you guys specs. Is that a good one? I think Cyclonic Rift. That's okay. But there's a tutorial on how to find specs. You need to look for those price discrepancies. And whenever there's a pretty slim margin between buy list and people selling them, you know a price spike is incoming. Of course, the best way, or the old faithful, how to do that is to go over here, and whenever you see a new deck hit these 5-0 finishes, or you can click on a recent tournament like this Grand Prix Oklahoma City and see that a certain deck or archetype of decks did well. I mean, this is really good information to make a good judgment of the next big price spike that's going to come up. Like, we could see Ancient Stirring starting to have a rebound. It, at one point in time, hit $6, but has gone all the way down to back down to $3. See, this is a bad sign for Modern. Ancient Stirrings, Tron didn't go anywhere. Tron's been around forever, but can you see this collapse? April. So Modern Masters, it's been the format's been collapsing since the start, because this didn't get a reprint, right? Yeah, it has no reprints for Ancient Stirring. It's a common, but still. Wow. Anyway. Well, here's another little price discrepancy. Now I talked about Card Kingdom. Maybe I was the last Mark Money video where I was looking at Card Kingdom. They had a lot of prices that were under TCG mid. So wonder what was up with that. Maybe they're just doing a sale or something. But this is a great way to identify price spikes. Again, I just can't in a good conscience really recommend investing in a lot of Magic cards at the moment. I want to really see this whole thing play out before I really start throwing money back into MTG Finance. So, hey, look, we have a moderator now. You guys gotta be. I need to make some more people moderators. Okay, one of these days I'll go into my YouTube settings and add some people that I trust to moderate. What do you think on more competitive Commander? Jake, I don't think that competitive Commander has a chance in hell because it gets solved too quickly. They have to have a really, really good ban list if they're going to regulate it. I don't like French or regular. What is it? I can't remember even the difference between Leviathan and French. Are those the two competitive Commander formats at the moment? I think that both of them are they need more oversight. I think that when you bring it to the masses, they get solved incredibly quickly. Commander I like so much is because it is casual. I wish I could go take my video in right now. How many Commander players are in there, Zach? 4. Oh, we have 4 people? Oh, usually we have way more than 4 people in there. Appreciate the sub, by the way, Corey.
3,
or Cody B.
3 are working and 1's sick.
Oh, three of our regular commanders are working and 1 is sick. Okay. I'm glad they're not coming into my store when they're sick. There's no bigger pet peeve than I have. Is a customer that comes into my store and gets me sick. Ugh. Anyway. So the Commander, though, is... If I show you who plays Commander and who buys Commander, it's going to be a totally different group. And it's if you start telling competitive players to go into so many different formats, you stretch them thin. And again, everything starts parasiting off each other. If Frontier were to get big, that's what you actually saw a lot of people freak out about Frontier, is they're afraid their modern scene was gonna die to Frontier, and that was their biggest complaint. So they cannibalize off each other, especially when we'd have a stagnated player group. So, however, Commander is a whole different group. I have a complete... There's actually very little overlap at my store here at Gone Rogue Games between Commander players and constructed players. Zach doesn't play in Commander. I don't play in Modern. So right there, even 2 of the owners will only go in specific groups. There are very few that actually play in both, right? Can you think of any Commander players that play in our constructed formats? Or
not really.
Yeah,
no.
I think they're pretty much... And I can't think of any constructed players that will play in our Commander. Besides me, I'm the one that it plays in both of them, except these my Commander players are bullies. They won't let me play with them anymore. I'm getting bullied at my own store. I just want to come and play Commander, and they tell me no. They say they don't want my kind, whatever that means, to play in their Commander group. Jerks.
Play combos.
What is it? What is it about me? What is it? What's my identification? No, it's got to be something that has to do with my social status.
Decks are mean. I don't know. What is it?
Oh, man, I can't stand when people complain about my decks, though. If they've ever been to a Grand Prix, they'd see a lot more. I don't have anything that really kills before turn 6. I'm not that degenerate. Thanks, Corey, for the donation. Thanks for sharing your knowledge and strategy. Is there anything else that wants to be more specific while you have me on the line here? I think we'll do it. We'll go for another 27 minutes. 2 hours is probably about the time I'll do for a live stream. I need to get back to fighting wars on Twitter. I'm so obsessed with Twitter right now. Someone needs to take away my Twitter account. Is Mox Open to reprinted in Modern 25? I think so, Frank. I think that's going to be one of the reason why I think that a lot of Modern Masters 2 got skipped for Modern Masters 3 was that it's going to be in another set for that, what we call equity. Speaking of MTG Goldfish here, Seth wrote a great article about the falling equity for master sets. Definitely go and look at that. But I still think the 2 Planeswalkers, if they do Planeswalkers again for 25, is going to be... I don't think they can do Jace again. I really don't. From the Vault 25 is going to have to be in Jace. I think it's going to be Karn, and I think it's going to be Liliana, to be honest. But they might do Jace and Karn. Ugin could be... Yeah, there's nothing else from Fate Reforged, is there? Because 25 is supposed to focus on, like, at least 1 card from each set, I believe. Someone correct me there if I'm wrong about the strategy. So a lot of these sets I think are going to be quite identifiable. And Ugin, I don't know if Ugin and Karn will be in the same. I think they have to hold Ugin back for some sort of master set for equity for that. What's Ugin going for these days? That's pretty good. Yeah, they need Ugin. They absolutely need Ugin to start building some equity. It's too early. This is absolutely too early because if you look at Fate Reforged, there's nothing else in this set. $8.81 for Mentor that got a ban, or can they get banned in Legacy? Or no, get restricted in Vintage, right? It didn't get banned in Legacy. Yeah, okay. Got restricted in Vintage, I believe. I'm not a big follower of Vintage. Never played it, never have any. So, I mean, this one isn't building equity. It's doing the exact opposite. It's still falling. Man, this set was just overprinted. But then we have, oh, look at that drop. From, I mean, this is Dragon's Maze all over again then. Except there was fetch, wasn't there was fetch lands in this one, yeah, not Dragons. So Tasigur has been not gaining, wow. Here's another card that hasn't seen a reprint that has just been falling in value. Has never recovered. Started recovering and is back down to its lowest now, or close to its lowest. This card is a heavy played in Death Shadow. Extremely heavy played, and can't gain value. That is just a terrible sign for RTR forward. So I don't think Ugin's going to be there. It's got to be Karn. I think the only equity that they have right now, I don't think that they necessarily... If they wait too long, people will start complaining about Karn, and then we'll get the whole little modern too expensive. So I think Karn, it's either Jason Karn or Karn and Liliana are going to be the 2 Planeswalkers for 25. They could go all out on Planeswalkers. I could see that because they're supposed to be... It's actually going to be the iconic set. 25 doesn't care if they're banned or not. Plus, there's so many murmurings. You guys can't hear Zach. Sorry. Usually you can with the other microphone, but we got to just hook you up to a microphone as you're walking around. All this guy does is pace all day long because all the energy drinks he drinks, he can't stay still. He's got to pace throughout the store, fidget everything. Ay. Anyway, have I tried Unstable yet? Yes, I've drafted Unstable like 4 times. So very fun set, very fun. I thought I'd be like cursing Wizards for Unstable, but it was insanely fun. All right, so Collected Company was in Dragons. So Dragons was a set with a lot more equity, but you got to think that the next set's going to have, because we cut out at RTR. So the last set last Modern Masters was eligible from Return to Ravnica and before Return to Ravnica. So this one will have to have a focal point for adding more equity for Theros to Dragon's Maze. Maybe Origins, I don't know where their cutoff will be. But the vast majority of those sets just don't have any real reprint equity. And the whole thing, what we talk about reprint equity here, is it has to be real demand. It can't be this nonsense from Iconic Masters. So if you, the biggest problem with Iconic Masters is the print run, even though people like Rudy claim the print run wasn't greater, it was still in the big box stores, and it was spoiled early. You can see that Iconic Masters is still going down. I think if we compare that with a lot of the other Master sets, they flatlined out by now. And so Iconic Masters actually still has, and it's actually, man, that $5 hit just in one day, that's pretty significant. But the only cards with real, like these 3 right here, Mana Drain, Horizon Canopy, Aether Vial, I would say are the only ones that, and Cryptic Command, and to a point, some of these other ones had like the amount of demand that they needed to sustain. So the more I look at Iconic Masters, though, it does seem to be that there are some good. This does have a lot of good cards in it. Like Oblivion Stone, this is a good week for Oblivion Stone, yet it's still going down. Isn't this used in Tron like crazy? Yeah. So this was a card that just saw a ton of camera time and went down, not up. But that's it. So anyway, so they're looking at master sets from this far forward. They need to find the cards that can hold value. Masters, Modern Masters 3, the biggest reasoning for that was able to hold a lot of its value, you can see right here, are these cards. The Scalding Tarn, the Caverns of Souls, the Goyf can still hold some of the equity quite well, even though I think that this third printing was the straw that broke the camel back. Liliana, Snapcaster Mage, just the amount of cards here in this slot is much, much greater than Iconic Masters had. And therefore, it actually could, hold its value. So when they're looking at Modern Masters 2019, I think is the next planned one, if there is one. Of course, like I said earlier, there's a lot of people that say that this was the last Modern Masters set. That they're just going to do Iconic and 25 and just some random. They'll start naming them random because they don't want to get pigeonholed into Modern because there's no equity left in it. That could happen. We should know in 2018 they'll announce it. I think we should see it by March or April. Usually they give like a good timeline of sets that are going to come out after that. So if we're looking forward though, after this next Modern set, there's nothing out of, they already hit a card out of Theros. All right, so they hit Thoughtseize. So that means they have to put Perforos in there or Elspeth as one of their, but that takes away their Planeswalker slot, and they might be relying on other Planeswalkers to hit that equity slot. Nyxos, Shrine of Nyx will probably be in there, and they could definitely go Devotion theme because there are a lot of, they can pair Devotion really well with Lorwyn, and I think they want to be doing that. So Masters 2019, I definitely think Modern Masters is going to have a big Devotion theme to it because it's all those what if scenarios if all of those Lorwyn hybrid cards existed with the Born of the Gods or Theros block Devotion strategies. And so I think we'll see a lot of those get reprinted. Maybe the Gods get reprinted, but there isn't a lot of equity in those, and they haven't even really recovered since then. We can still look at Thassa, and Thassa isn't up much from its low at $4 but that $4 is probably one of these little dips here. Yeah. So its true low is actually about, $5 is its true low. And so it hasn't gone up a lot. Perforos being the one exception because it's just a heavily played commander card. This one skyrocketed. This is a card we've actually sold a ton in, bought a ton in around this range too, and sold them. But not a lot of equity. Anger of Gods got hit. There's another Master of Waves got hit. So those are two that could have gained some value that already got hit with reprints. So then we have going over into the Born of the Gods, there's absolutely nothing in this one. So we have a Bramaz that spiked up because of Commander, and then a Xenagos, and everything else is under that reprint line. If you reprint a card that's $5 or below, it gets crushed. It gets crushed down to the dollar value. So it's tough to reprint any of these into master sets without like if they were to reprint Courser in a master set, this would crush the price from $4 to $1. And so it wouldn't hold any value. The value would look good because it had a lot of $4 cards, and then it would go down to nothing and be insignificant. So there's not really much they can do with this set. Then we go on to the Journey to Nyx. They have a couple of good ones in Journey, except the Keranos. Here's a card that has just had a free fall within the past year, especially I guess after Twin got banned. It came crashing down. This is starting to see a lot of more modern. There you go. There's a good little spec, I think, for people. For people asking for a spec, I like Keranos. I think Keranos is a... Let's check out EDH Rec real quick. See if Keranos has any sort of playability in Commander. I don't see it too often when I... Oh, no. Oh, that's view as a commander. Okay, view as a card. That's not too shabby, but that's not enough demand to really spike it up long term for Keranos. I still do like it. I think that Keranos is probably at its low right now. Do I have another? Man, I have so many windows open. There's another window. Yeah, this is a good sign. This is its all-time low. I do like Keranos. But again, this should be the time that these cards should be recovering and just naturally going up. And it's the exception, not the rule. There are a few cards here and there that have been going up. What's a Johnny look like? Its trajectory. That's still pretty flat. That's encouraging, though. But this is a card that sees a ton of play in EDH and casual. So I guess there's a little bit of equity there. But again, that's nothing to really brag about for a Masters set. So they're going to have a hard time creating a master set that both has the draftability, if I can use that word, and have equity in it. They're really going to have to dip. And especially 2018 is a bust year. Ooh, they may just have to skip a set, to be honest. But I don't know if Wizards has the patience or the discipline. That's the word I'm looking for, to skip a set. So, or to skip doing it. I don't know. I mean, these are all the economic indicators, though, you really, really need to get savvy with when you speculate into cards. Like Farika, you should see that Farika should be more than a $2.14 card. This card has seen some modern play lately, and it's stuck at $2. I don't know. Maybe there are some good places to sink some equity into this sort of block. I just think there's just too much supply out there. But then let's look at the last but not least. We already looked at cons and we looked at fate. So what's the Dragons, I think, is even more dismal because Dragons got really hit by reprints. So you have Collected Company and Dragonlord Dramoka and Kolgan's Command. Those should definitely be very good for a master set. But everything else is pretty dismal, and they already hit them in a lot of the reprints for the commander sets. And there was a lot of these actually even in Iconic, right? So there's just not enough equity there. Like when they hit a card like Dragon Tempest and take it from a rare, this card is actually starting to see a really good price increase. Yeah, look at that. Look what they did to themselves. They took a card that actually did hold value and then reprinted it as an uncommon. And that's, it went from a card that was up to $2.50 to a 20-cent card. Look at that. That was a nice price trajectory for Dragon Tempest. Wow. I don't know. This is scary. This is really scary with the reprint policy. So I'll be one that will argue till I'm blue in the face that investors or speculators or just the financiers in Magic are pivotal to the economy. And if you take away this, though, this is a collectible card game, so there's going to be that aspect of that. And games that embrace that and really kind of cater to that, I think, do well in the long run. Of course, we're not saying that the speculators should just run amok and make just these insane profit margins and keep people from playing formats. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if they really take this part out of the game, just start printing things into oblivion, that will kill their customer base because cards need to retain value. Otherwise, they can't justify their $4 per pack. It has to retain some sort of value. And whenever there is value, there are going to be people that can exploit that, right? Exploit's not the right word. Just profit on that. So anyway, that's my spiel for that. What would you suggest buying into Shadows block most? Grim Flare, Emrakul? Again, though, that's a problem. I think that now that we've got the price trajectories, we've got a lot of things just stagnate and stagnate and stagnate. From Theros and Constant Arcere, Shadows and Battle for Zendikar are even more recent. So I think we have a long time, 6 months to a year, before those even begin to make a dent. I've been okay buying Grim Flares for sure. I've been okay with buying Emrakul. I think it's just a matter of time before it starts to see modern play. I think the card has the power level there. But Shadows doesn't really have anything in it that has Nahiri. If Nahiri slides down even more, wow, Nahiri's still getting pummeled. So Nahiri's at its all-time low. And this is funny here, too, because Nahiri didn't see a lot of standard play, so a lot of people were expecting this just to be modern demand. They held Nahiri. Okay, so here is a very, 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 very... How many varies do I need to say here before I can get this point across? This is... Thanks for stopping by, Frank, by the way. This is a good indicator of Chandra. So look what happened to Nahiri. Nahiri sees a lot of play in modern. Let's compare it. How much does Chandra see play in modern? I think Chandra's been outclassed lately in modern, just because Planeswalkers just don't. What is Chandra called? Chandra, Fire, Flamecaller, Pyro, Kaladesh. Pyrogenius? Is that the one? No. Kaladesh. What can I think? Torch of Defiance, right? That's what it's called? Torch. So a lot of people keep arguing with me that this card's just going to hold its value because it sees modern play. Oh, yeah, standard, modern, though. 13 compared to 2. And is Jund actually running it? Land Destruction. Some Scred versions run it. Legacy runs it a little bit. Okay, none in this Jund list. So let's just try to find the... Did Jund not even do anything at all in... Let's go back to the tournament, see if we can find the first Jund deck in Modern. and see where it's at. Because we saw a lot of Abzan, because Abzan just does better against Death Shadow than Jund does. So, nope, I didn't see it. So no Jund list made the top 32, unless I'm... And no Chandra's in the top spells. Let's look at spells here. Okay, it doesn't say top spells past that. Let's go format stable, see where if we can find Chandra here in the top spells. Oh, it's 10th. Oh, that's standard. Huh. Like, wow, that's really good for modern if it's 10th. So not in the top 50 is Chandra. Okay, this price can't hold. So there's a good thing with people arguing about Chandra for long-term spec. I think it right now is definitely the spell or the time to sell it. It's been going down for it. So that's the best way to predict the future is look at the past. And so so going over to like Battle for Zendikar, the thing is that you can invest in any of these if you can get it way cheap. I've been picking up like Cyrus Stagnation for 10 cents or close 10 cents, which is I think a card that when people actually realize that it's almost as good as the Sphinx in Commander, every blue-black deck is going to eventually be putting it in. It's an insanely good card in Commander. But Eldritch Moon is a little more promising. I like second sets a lot better than first sets just because the supply is usually a lot lower. But we even see Collective Brutality at a free fall. Oh, no, we don't. It's still going up. I saw that down marking, but yeah, this card was a good one. This was all modern. It was keeping this one in. I like this card. This card just synergizes with so many mechanics that could be made in the future. So Madness, Graveyard type stuff. So this was a good one. I don't see Collective Brutality actually going much down. That's because it's holding all the value from this set. Because Grim Flayer used to be one of them that, again, people used to argue me about Grim Flayer because this was all modern demand. It didn't see a lot of standard. There was a point where it was only seeing play in modern because the Delirium decks were being outclassed by the energy decks, so people were focusing on the energy rather than Delirium, building like the Snake deck, and so putting Snake in here instead of Grim Flayer. And it was holding its value due to modern, but this card still seems to be in a free fall for the Grim Flayer. Liliana Last Hope, though, is starting to see a little more play in modern. We did see some camera with Grixis Delver seeing, or Grixis Death Shadow seeing this on camera, but it seems to be still going down. But so you just need to find the right price point for these. So just lowball. Spellcaller, this is another one that is seeing a lot of play in modern. Is a decent little investment. The power level definitely does seem to be there, but that's my biggest advice with anything from Battle for Zendikar to the Eldritch Moon is you should be looking at 50% discounts. You'll find people that are just willing to get out. You need to be the shark on this. You need to be the someone that was like, okay, I'm willing to pay. You're the speculator. You don't need to be paying a premium for any card that you're not using in a deck. Just play the waiting game. You will get the people to send you those Cyclonic Rifts for $3.18. It's gonna happen. You just have to be patient and wait and wait and wait. And, you'll get your packages. One little tip for CardSphere, put a lot of 10-cent cards on there and 15-cent cards because a lot of people do the what we call the add-ons. So they're like, oh, I don't want to send off a Cyclonic Rift only. I want to send off like a package that's worthwhile. So some of them will discount the stamp. So all these 10-cent cards might be worthless to someone. They'll throw them in. And what I mean by 10-cent cards are actually like 70-cent cards or 80-cent cards that you're paying 10 cents for. And that will actually make people actually send you trades like Cyclonic Rifts for more if they can sweeten the deal by throwing in a bunch of 10-cent cards. So just a little bit of tip there. But there are a lot of cards here that I like long-term, but we're talking long-term is 2020, 2021. When was Cons printed? That was like, what, 3 years ago for Cons? And we've seen very little growth, so we're probably looking at longer and longer. We have to wait. What we really need is an influx of player base, and unfortunately we're seeing the opposite happen right now. So anyway, we have about 7 minutes left. I'll try to get some questions back in. We had a pretty nice little stream here. We have around 50 to 100 people pretty consistently, and pretty good for winging it. One of these days I'll be prepared for a Market Monday live stream. We'll probably get back to just doing the regular live stream or regular Market Mondays. I still need to do videos for Quiet Speculation. I keep telling them that. I apologize if they're listening to this. All the drama in the community, all the Christmas season and stuff. I do not have free time to sit and make a really published video. Finally got a good. I did build like the skeleton towards it though. If anyone knows how to edit, a lot of times it's so it takes a ton of time to get the first video because you have to kind of format the video. But once you got the first video done, it's easy just to replace images or have a format done to just bust out videos, and that's where I'm at for kind of these market videos. So if anyone is interested in a higher platform like Quiet Spec, I should be doing videos for them in the future. It's all me, not them. It's all my fault at the moment. So I'll be looking forward to that. I'll pimp it out when I do get those videos for sure. But any final questions? We have about 5 minutes left before I go. You can ask me anything at this point. If you want to get into drama, we can get into drama. We're going to see resurgence in Magic once Kaladesh and Amonkhet gets closer rotation. Do you know what though, Uricon? I actually don't blame. Yes, I hate Kaladesh energy, but I think that God, I'm going to sound like Desolator Magic here, and then I'm going to bite my tongue. We are in kind of a trend where the spiky competitive net deck. Did I just say net deck? Tasty, don't crucify me, Tasty. Don't you make it a super cut of me saying net deck. Is really tough. I've 5-0'd with Marionette Master 3 times. My win record is insane with Marionette Master, yet no one's playing it. That just shows me that everyone just like they are so comfortable playing the deck that is as proven itself that they almost have to be incentivized to play other decks. And I think that maybe the only way that Wizards can do that is just what a lot of people hate, which is bans. And usually Wizards like to use bans a last resort. And I don't like them either unless unless they're a last resort. So I don't know how I feel about it. I just think that the mentality needs to change. They could easily incentivize stuff on MTGO just by giving out like bounties, or like I said before, like Dota has a compendium that encourages people to play a different character differently than they would play it. So you have like different achievements that you can do on Dota with a specific character or a different class of characters that forces people to play away from the meta game play style. So I think that's if Wizards wants to stop this Teamer Energy problem, because what's going to happen? If they want to create anything that can actually compete with Teamer Energy, they need to push dinosaurs. So then Teamer Energy rotates, then we have dinosaurs that can't be beat. Dinosaurs becomes the new Teamer Energy. It's just more consistent. We have cards like the Regisaur Alpha that just outclass everything. Okay. And now cards like Fumigate rotate out, or Hour of Devastation rotates out. Now all of a sudden, Alpha seems a lot better against Settle the Wreckage when you get 2 lands rather than just get 1 land, for example. So it causes like another problem now when they print cards in new sets to combat old sets, like to try to start with it causes like this power creep imbalance, and then it just gets back to the same old. I don't think that we're in a standard where Teamer Energy is unbeatable. It's no Cobblade. It absolutely is not Cobblade. You can be successful with a variety of different decks in Standard. There are multiple decks that continue to 5-0. I think we should be really worried about Standard is when they don't get 5 decks in that 5-0 little MTG right here, what I'm talking about. So we go metagame here, where this one seems pretty bad. Other than I 5-0'd and they didn't show my deck. 3 Teamer Energies, I 5-0'd either this day or this day, and I just didn't make the list. But when we see like only 4 results actually happening because they're all the same deck, that's when it's going to get really scary. But I mean, this isn't encouraging. This is awful, having 2 decks. And when you actually look more reasonable, Sultai Energy is basically the same deck as Teamer Energy, and 4-Color Energy is basically the same deck as Sultai and Teamer Energy. They're very, very similar. The Pummeler, in all honesty, isn't that much different than those two. And we add up all of these together, we're up to about 50% of the meta, and then round it up as another 20%. And these are all being deflated. The numbers are being deflated by them picking and choosing what can actually show up here. You can see a pretty bad meta. But I don't think the player base is necessarily gone because of Standard. The player base is just gone because of just poor decisions being made by WotC. That's the biggest issue. By WotC, WotC's just the short for Wizards of the Coast. So, yeah. Do I have any new cards or commander brews? Oh god, I need to do my commander deck tech so bad. One of these days I need to just sit down and bust out some content. Like I said, I've been living my life on Twitter for the past week, and I need to get the hell off of Twitter and just bust out some videos. So Did order a new microphone that I'll now, because my mic's now here at the store, so I'm just too lazy to. I don't like traveling, but that's how mics get broken so often. Is I throw them in the car and they get pushed around and stuff. So I need to get a good setup at home and here at the store so I can just bust out videos, sit down, bust them out, get them published. But I do have some Commander videos coming up. I did keep Soul Sisters on MTGO, so I might play some Soul Sisters on Modern. If you guys like live streams, I'd love to do some live streams. I have a couple video series that I want to do. One is called Janking Off with the Rogue Deckbuilder, which there's a potential sponsor for that. So I'll probably do it on their channel. And the other I do want to do is the Rogue Refiner, where I take user-submitted decks and just refine their decks, because that's by far the most question I get from people is, can you look at my deck list? Can you improve it? And I'm all for that. I actually like refining decks. That's something that I do find challenging and find stimulating to do so. And then I'll continue with the Rogues Alley, and I'll probably try to. I do want to fit in some live stream games here, because I think that streaming is becoming more fun to me, and we do need to have those sort of, like, I want to interact with the community more often than I have. So, anywho, any other final statements? Any closing remarks before we shut this 2-hour stream down and I get back to fighting people on Twitter? Tasty will edit, Thada? Tasty, don't you dare say that, because I will chuck it to you. I will record an audio tonight and make you edit it. Dude, you're opening up a can of worms. It's happening. I'm going to go grab Theta and give you the audio for it, and you edit it out. Usually what ends up happening, though, Tasty, before you know what you're getting into, is I ramble in those videos, end up having to cut out like 50% of what I talk about. So I don't know if you want that task. But anyway, did I miss any comments that are worthwhile? I didn't see Atset. So how good has Marinette Master been against Energy and Roundup Red? Very good. 50% plus for sure. They're the matchups I'll play against. That's why I built it. I'll show you the guys the 5-0 finish real quick. Do you want to stay on stream quicker? We'll do it for another time. Let's see tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll get on. I haven't played any games since my last 5-0. I'll show you all those matchups. They're all against Esper Approach and then 4-teamer energies in a row. There's some really cool games. Have you been blocked? Who's been blocked? No one's been blocked. Did I just miss your questions? I'm terrible at reading questions. Try to @ me if you have a question. It's easier for me to see. But what are some of my best EDH moments? Whenever people rage at me, those are always the best ones. Talk about Jeremy's ban. We'll need to do that for a drama stream. Gringo. We've been gone out. We've been doing this for too long today. I need to go yell at Commander players and see if I can get in a game, or see if I'm still banned from joining their Commander group. Bastards. Oh, they're not here? The mean Commanders aren't even here today? I can actually go play Commander at my own store that I pay rent for? Wow, this is going to be awesome. Oh, Zach pays the rent. I can actually play in my own store. Wow. That's going to be a great feeling. Oh. If I want to do a stream sometime, let me know if we want to do a whole drama stream. Maybe I'll get some other people on to talk about it. One of these days we'll get Tasty when he decides not to work a freaking swing shift or graveyard or whatever he's working that's so, like, pain in the butt to. Who else would you like me to do a live stream with? You can go check out an awesome interview by Legendary Mana. That was a great one. He needs more views on his channel, and he does some great interviews. Hope that person grows in the community, because we need more level-headed people that aren't. Unfortunately, right now we have a lot of the extremes, and I think I'm starting to fall into the extreme category. Of course, I've made my alliances, and now I'm gonna live or die by the sword type thing. And, I've made my peace with that. But we do need some more people that are just level-headed thinkers. So, get Lion on? I don't know, man. I don't know if I can get Lion on. A lot of times we butt heads with different issues. But, alrighty, if there's no other closing questions, we're over 3 minutes over. I'm going to call this stream to an end. And I'm going to go play some Commander. Everyone, thanks for watching.